Hello everyone, I'm Varsha Kotru, Marketing Manager at Kloves. Thank you for joining us on our Kloves monthly webinar. Today we'll be discussing employee experience at Autodesk. Today the agenda will be housekeeping, then talk about Kloves, followed by the presentation, and then finally QA. Housekeeping. The webinar will be recorded and you'll be able to access it later. For Q&A, you're on mute. If you have any questions, please use Q&A section in your Zoom panel and panelists will answer them. If you have any questions that are not directly related to webinar, please feel free to email us at sales@closing.com. First of all, housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and you'll be able to access it later. Then about Kloves. We are a ServiceNow partner since 2011, based out of Santa Clara, very close to ServiceNow headquarters. We are a full service shop, 250 plus customers, 400 plus implementations, executing projects globally. Our services include end-to-end services, and our focus is on customer service management, end user portal, and HRSTC. Our panelist for today is Earl Barron, Senior Director, Digital Employee Experience at Autodesk. Thank you all for joining us in Kloves monthly webinar. So at this point of time, I'll stop sharing my screen and Earl can take it from there.
Great, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Earl Barron, and I am the Senior Director for the Digital Employee Experience at Autodesk. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to start off by saying, first off, I am in Northern California. So for some reason, I dropped during the presentation. It was because of the great power outages we're having that's rolling through the whole Bay Area right now. So just a heads up on that. What I wanted to do is talk to you a little bit about, tell you the story, what we've done here at Autodesk, you know, who we are, what we did, how we did it, what we're hearing from our employees, and then what's kind of next for us. So my name is Earl Barron. I lead the digital employee experience at Autodesk, and what that means is it's our Ask HR group, which is our HR shared services. We have 3 hubs. One is in Singapore, one's in the Bay Area, and one is in Dublin. It also includes HR technology. We are a Workday shop. It's continuous improvement, looking at all of our HR processes and seeing how we can globalize and standardize those. And then finally, our Workforce Insights, which is a new organization for us, and that's all around reporting, metrics, and analytics, really helping us understand our employee base more. So what I'm going to do today is just basically explain our story. So what we've tried to do is we are really focused on delivering a consumerized experience to our employee population. And our model is we want to deliver something that you would expect as a consumer in your personal life to your work life when you're at Autodesk. So we're really striving for that Amazon-like experience. So today what we're going to do is talk to you about employee experience at Autodesk, and then explain how we wrote all of our content with what we called the Feel, Think, Do filter on it. So about Autodesk. Autodesk is a leader in 3D design, engineering, and entertainment software. We're an amazing company. We're really cool. We're based out of the Bay Area. And what we like to say is if you've ever admired a really great sports car, saw a really tall building, or used a really cool application, chances are it was designed utilizing our software. So right now we are right at 10,000 employees. We have over 100 products, and our FY19 revenue was $2.6 billion. We have over 200 million customers around the world. 680 million students and educators get access to our software for free. Sorry, I'm having an issue getting my screen to advance. Additionally, from an employee perspective, we are in 45 countries. So what you see here is something we've been promoting. So we made a change a couple of years ago. We went to delivering all of our products in the cloud. So what we're now doing is we are a customer company, and what it means is our success is predicated upon our customers' success. We're committed to providing an exceptional customer experience as we are to delivering exceptional products, and every one of us takes responsibility for understanding our customers, their needs, their expectations, and their experiences. So this is what's been shared by our leadership at Autodesk, and the reason I bring this up is because if you took every word in here that says customer and you replace it with employee, that's what we're trying to do when we deliver a consumerized experience to our employees. So when you hear about employee experience, what is it? It's the new buzzword. It's so hot, it even has an acronym. Everything's you see now is around EX. And as I said, there's no standard definition, but these are some of the ones that are popping up. A set of perceptions that employees have about their experience at work in response to their interactions with the organization, what people encounter, observe, or feel over the course of their employee journey at the organization, and a place where employees actually want, not need, to show up to work. So why is there the big focus on employee experience? Well, you can see some of the indicators of employees, the competitive advantage that comes with it. You know, companies that stress employee experience are 11.5 times more often find on Glassdoor's best place to work. It has higher revenue per employee. It's typically listed 28 times more on Fast Company's most innovative companies. So this is why you're going to continue seeing a lot of companies talking about the employee experience. So with that said, that goes into what was our opportunity for digitization. So as I said previously, you know, we are in line with becoming a customer company. Employees are our customers. We wanted to have a single method for all employees to engage with the People and Places organization. So People and Places is what we call our HR organization. And previously, what had happened is if you had a question, you would go to any number of places, and we wanted to have that one place that employees could go to get all of their questions answered. We wanted to have a modernized delivery model, once again, stressing consumerization. We also took this opportunity to document our processes and activities. You know, being in 45 countries, we didn't always have equal documentation. So this is what we wanted to do. And above all, we wanted to truly become a data-driven organization. And in order for us to do that, we needed a way that we could track, you know, what our employees asking us, what do they need assistance with. So our mission for Ask HR was to create an accurate, consistent, fast, and friendly way to respond to all of our employees. So here's how our journey happened. So in the past, if you're an employee and you had a question, you'd either go to your coworker, you go to the manager, you go to Emphasis, which was our SharePoint site, you go to one of our COEs within HR, or you go to your HR business partner, your HRG. And when we were a smaller company, this model worked for us. And we really prided ourselves on being a relationship organization where you would basically go to somebody and say, Pat, can you tell me, you know, talk to me about my benefits, tell me what I'm eligible for. And Pat would be more than happy to help you. Was you grow to a company of 10,000 plus employees and you're in 45 countries, all of a sudden poor Pat's not able to do his job because he's responding to so many more questions. And what we were also doing in that instance is we were putting the responsibility on the employee to understand our organization. So the employee had to know that talent acquisition was the group that handled all of our recruiting, which most of us who are in HR, we're like, of course that's who handles it. But if you're in an organization and you may be a manager and you only open up a rec maybe one every 2 to 3 years, You may or may not know that. So we really wanted to drive the one place to go. So with that said, we launched Ask HR. We launched in December of last year for the Americas. In January, we launched to EMEA and APAC. And when we were building it out, we really wanted to focus on, once again, the consumerization. And that means providing knowledge, collaboration, analytics, and transaction. So the example I like to use is when you go out to Amazon and you want to buy a gas grill, you type in gas grill, it's going to give you a whole list of the gas grills that they have available to you. That's going to give you the knowledge. The collaboration piece is where you start saying, what do other people who have bought it, what do they think of it? You know, does it get a 1-star? Does it get a 5-star? The analytics, you know, what other information, what do other people buy with that gas grill? And then finally, the transaction. Nobody makes it easier to spend your money and get something the next day than Amazon does. One click and it's there. So that's really what we wanted to strive for when we were delivering our Ask HR experience. And then obviously tomorrow, the next thing we want to do is we want to move into the area of utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is our solution at a glance. And when you look at this, what you will notice is there is no use of HR terms. We use work, life, team. You don't see comp ratio. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it very interactive. We put pictures of our employees at the top. We have search being very prominent. The other thing that you can do is you notice the drop down. So when you type in something, you're going to get responses that's specific to your country. The other piece you can see is all the open cases, any items you have to do, and then a history. So this is how we wanted to focus it, and we wanted to have a very clean experience. I will say, I'll also be upfront with things that we found that if we were to change it, so right now, we put chat now on every page. And when we rolled out utilizing the portal, case management tool, and chat. If we were revising it, we would probably do chat as a phase 2. And what we found by putting chat on the first page is a lot of times people are going directly to chat as opposed to doing the search. So we're actually going to be moving that off of our first page. Okay. So the key thing that we did that we identified going in, so Emphasis, as I said, was our previous tool that we used, and it's a SharePoint site. And what happened with that is people were continuing to, anybody could publish to SharePoint. And as a result of that, a lot of times the content that was out there was old. It was outdated. It was not accurate. And employees lost their faith in what was out there on the web. So when we did this, we wanted to have a really clean, great experience for our employees. And what we identified, actually the first hire that I did for the Ask HR project was hiring a knowledge manager. And the reason we did this is, as it says here, it's really our opportunity to make or break it. And it's really giving that first impression. So what you're going to see is whenever you go into Ask HR, you know that the content is always up to date. It has a consistent voice. It has a consistent look and feel. And it has key elements that we talk about that's coming up with the whole feel, think, do. So I'm going to walk you through that in just a minute. And then the other thing that we did is we continue to utilize our landing page carousel, and we allow groups to put content on there so it's always fresh, it's always updated. So when we did Feel, Think, Do, what happened is our knowledge manager would go out to every content owner and have an interview with this person and find out about the programs they're doing. And it was really sitting there and asking the knowledge owner, like you'll see here, employee referral program, which was by talent acquisition. The first thing we do is like, What do we want our employees to feel when they're looking at this page? Then what do we want them to do? And then what do we want them to think? So out of that, this is basically what one of these intake forms would look like. So specific to the employee referral, we want people to feel that they have a stake in building a better Autodesk. You know, they're proud of working for a leading edge global software company, and they see a value in their professional network of being an employee. What do we want them to think or know? We want them to share their professional network with us. We want them to work. We want them to identify people they want to work with. And then finally, what do we want them to do? Recognize that, you know, be evangelists for us. Recognize that there is an ERP program in place that you can go out and you can actually get incentives for recommending somebody to Autodesk. And then out of that intake form, our knowledge manager would craft the knowledge article. And this is what it would do. So out of that, the interview, this is what, when somebody goes to the employee referral program, it says, we believe our employees are the best at what they do. We also believe they know and network with tremendously talented people. We want to know them too. Employee referrals play an important role in securing our next generation talent at Autodesk. When you refer incredible people, you have direct impact on our future talent, culture, and overall success at Autodesk. Not to mention you can earn some extra cash when you refer your friends. So what are you waiting for? Tell us who you know and help us find our next great Autodesk hire by sharing our open jobs with your network. So once again, it does not have an HR spin to it. It does not have HR speak. It's just like you were talking to a friend. It's very casual and makes things easy for our employees to see. So what's been our feedback? Overall, it's been great. You know, to be fair, we're always going to have some areas that we're going to improve on, but people found that the chat's been great, the platform feels clean. They like the fact that they can get their responses in a timely manner. They like the fact that they're able to track what they've done. And they like knowing that the content is always fresh and updated. What's our summary? We went live, and as you can see, once again, we're employees about 10,000. Since we've gone live, we've had over 138,000 knowledge article views, which is incredible. Our average knowledge article, you know, we rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, and we're rating, the average rating is 4.12. When things go below a 2, our knowledge management team, they actually reach out to the employees to find out, you know, what could we be doing different? Is there something that, you know, was it miscategorized? Was it not written clear enough? Is there anything that we can be doing? Or is there anything we can help you with? We've had over 20,000 cases created. We've had over 7,000 chats that's been initiated. 92% of our queries are resolved on first contact. And since we've gone live, 90% of our employee base has already gone into the tool. Now, on average, when you look at it, the typical employee is going in 1.5 times a month. So we're very pleased with the amount of activity that we've had. Lessons learned. We always focus on the employee experience. That's really our North Star, where we want to get to. My team gets tired of me saying it, but we really want that Amazon experience. Don't underestimate the knowledge article rewrite time. We're not strictly doing a lift and shift of taking content. We went through and we reviewed every knowledge article. We updated it. We gave it a consistent voice. It was an iterative process working with our COEs. As I mentioned earlier, we probably consider chat as a phase 2. And the other thing that we did is we would staff for some additional work. So as you can see by our numbers, over 20,000 cases, what we did is we took our employees that were in our operations groups before we brought them into Ask HR. And the goal is to ultimately have a global team with enough content that if you're an employee in Singapore and you have a question and it's now 10 a.m. on the West Coast, you should be able to get an answer for it. So we recognize that in order to do that, we need to be able to cross-train. We need to be able to allow our employees to get up to speed on other areas. So we have had to go in and staff for additional work. So here's basically our next steps. You know, the first step, we really went about building out Ask HR, training our employees, staffing it. The phase 2 right now is the cross-training. We're going to integrate with Employee Help Hub, which is our internal IT site. So right now, the only 2 groups that have a shared service model at Autodesk is our IT group and HR. And our ultimate goal is to have one place where everybody can get all of their answers. So what that means for us is if you have a question about a non-disclosure agreement, people don't know if that sits within procurement or if that's a legal piece. So what they're doing is they're reaching out to Ask HR because we're the only other avenue that's there for them. Ultimately, we want to have one place because an employee shouldn't have to wonder, you know, who handles this. They should be able to go and get their questions answered. We're still doing some work on our Ask HR metrics. Right now, we do a really good job of running metrics on the volume. We're not getting to the point yet where we're getting a lot of quantitative data. I'm sorry, a lot of qualitative data. It's all been about the quantity. So that's really where we want to go. And our next is really starting to utilize the ServiceNow tool much better to find out, like, what are some of the trends? What are things people are having questions about, and being able to give that information back to the COEs. We want to expand our localized content. So as I mentioned, we're in about 45 countries. 95% of our employees are in our top 15 countries. So those are the ones we really focused on when we went out the gate with our knowledge articles, but we want to expand on that. We want to look at our current process, see how we can become more efficient. We're also going out to the COEs and we're asking them, what additional work would you like to see coming into Ask HR? What other operational or transactional activities would you like? The other piece that we would like to look at is live events. So right now, some of the feedback that we've received and what we're aware of is it's very transactional. So somebody calls in and says, how do I change my address? How do I add a beneficiary? I was at a conference and there was a group that talked all about life events. So typically, if you're changing your name, you're doing it for one of 2 reasons. You're either getting married or you're getting divorced. And those are the main reasons. But when you go about changing your name, you also may be changing your address, changing your tax information. So really giving that employee everything they need. So it's not just so like, okay, I have to do A, B, and C, but telling them this is the process and here how you can, here's what you can do. We want to continue evaluating new technologies. And once again, this is looking at artificial intelligence, machine learning, see what's available on us. And then as we continue going down in phase 3, what we call optimizing and enhancing, just continuing to monitor and report on our metrics, trying to get that deeper information that we can share, see what other processes we can bring in, and also look at more complex processes that we might be able to bring into Ask HR as well. The top takeaways, this goes without saying because this is typically going to be such a big project for your business. Make sure you have your executive buy-in. I would say dedicate a knowledge manager. This person's not only done an amazing job for us making sure that you know, all the content is current and that it's up to date and it's consistent, but she's also done an incredible job of, we now have a cadence in place where we know that every 6 months, every 12 months, every 18 months, we're going back out to the COEs or the subject matter experts and asking them to validate the content. And then finally, continue striving for this consumerized experience. You know, pick your company that you think is a great example of this and shoot for that. As I said, for us, we use Amazon. So with that said, that's the end of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
So I have received one question. How
Yes.
do you drive people to rate your article?
So that was something when we went out the gate and we started to communicate to individuals. We actually let them know that if they rate the articles, that's the way that we're going to make it better. So it's something that we've always stressed every time we go out and we do a communication. We always ask people to rate the articles. It's very prominent on the page when you're at the bottom. You will always see it. It repeats itself on every article that we have. And that's really been the way we've done it. We've just made it kind of be one of those pieces that whenever you're going to ask HR, please rate our articles.
And this is Erica. Was the question, how do you drive employees to the knowledge article? Because
I don't think it,
Question
this one
was,
says,
how do you drive people to rate your article?
oh, how do you drive people to read the article? Okay. So
Right.
Earl, do you remember that we had a pretty significant conversation around this, and it was tough, and we did something that was kind of you know, unprecedented. We actually removed direct access to our HR COEs. We deleted email addresses to those direct teams, and we kind of cut the apron strings. And when people would reach out to their HR COEs, when employees would say, well, I'm just going to call Pat in benefits because he always answers my questions. We asked Pat in benefits to say, hey, I'd love to help you right now. Let me help you find that knowledge article. Basically, let me teach you how to fish. So we asked our COEs to help us cut those apron strings. So it was kind of ripping off the Band-Aid. And I have to say, we did it with a soft touch and it worked. And people are self-serving.
Absolutely. So this is Erica, and she is our knowledge manager. So Erica, thank you.
Good morning.
Okay. The second question which we have received is, do you have a feel or for how many or what is the percentage of cases that are not being created due to employee finding their own answers via search or chat?
So when we look at it that way, we are right in the 85 to 90% are being answered via the knowledge articles. When we look at it, we've had 138,000 hits on it, and we've only had 20,000 cases. So our assumption basically is they're finding it most of the time, and that extra 15%, they're going directly to either open a case or open a chat.
We are often trying to close the gaps, the knowledge gaps, and we receive that information from a number of different sources. One of our main sources, because we've only enabled the knowledge article request form to HR. We certainly, couldn't handle 10,000 employees globally asking us to publish an article on what they're serving in the cafe in Belgium, right? So we have only opened that inquiry and made that form available to HR. So anyone in HR can say, wow, I really think we could get something into Ask HR about this. Another source would be our HR advisors themselves. When they start to see a pattern of, wow, I think I'm seeing a lot of people ask about our new LinkedIn learning, our new online learning benefit. Knowledge team, would you consider creating knowledge article? These are some of our best channels for closing knowledge gaps. And every day, the knowledge base is getting better, broader, easier, faster, more streamlined. And we take great pride in administering white glove employee experience, getting in front of what their next questions might be, like Earl said. So if someone's asking to change their name, they might also be asking to maybe even add someone to their benefits, a dependent, or change their address. On the knowledge team, we try to be clairvoyant. We try to read our employees' minds. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, A question is like, we are sitting at 2% rating in our articles. We have mentioned at the bottom of our articles, but people are still not rating those articles. So do we have any suggestions on that?
So you're saying, how do you drive people to rate your articles? We're sitting at 2%. We haven't mentioned at the bottom of articles, but people are not.
Right, right.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Daniel, we just continue every time we go out and we communicate, we ask people to give us feedback because we keep stressing that this tool is only going to be as good as the information that we have and the feedback that we have on it. So we encourage people, give us the feedback, help us make it a better tool for you. To be fair, we're nowhere near getting 100% of people who go in and look at our knowledge articles rating it, but we do feel like we are getting a good sample that's giving us some information. And all I would say is just continue stressing to people, the tool is only going to get better based on your feedback, so please keep sharing.
We run a report every Friday on comments that are left on our knowledge base. And we dedicate time to truly solidifying, I guess, belief that we are listening. So there's a couple of things that could be going on there. Culturally, sometimes people feel if they leave a comment or if they rate it, that it could come back to bite them. So if you could impress upon people and express really clearly, there's not going to be any backlash. We really are looking for improvement. We don't seem to have that problem at Autodesk. We have a very open and honest culture, so they know they can tell us what's not working. So if you can encourage them to be open and that there won't be any negative outcome from that, I think you'll get more ratings. Then when people do leave comments, if you're able to dedicate some time to personally respond to those comments, we have an email that we send out to each person who comments. It's a canned email, but it's a template email. We say, thank you, so-and-so, for your comment. And we paste in the knowledge article that they commented on and the comment they left. We personally leave a very warm, high-touch, friendly response saying, you know, this is a great idea. We're going to reach out to the COE on this and get your answer and improve this knowledge article, and we'll circle back with you. Thank you so much. So I guess you just got to kind of keep nurturing that culture.
Yeah. Thank you. What other questions?
I think there are no more questions now.
Okay.
Yes. So I would say thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to email us at sales@closing.com. Thank you once again, Earl and Erica, for your time. And thanks to all attendees who have joined us. See you next month for our next monthly webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.